Welcome to episode 12 of the Daily Motor Podcast, back here in beautiful sunny DMHQ, starring Chris,
Sunny.
Nathan, and myself, Charlie. No sound effects, because DMHQ is much more budget than the wonderful studio. Grove Studios is where we were recording the podcast before, but there was a remarkable lack of car art around there. And
Here
so
we got a Lamborghini.
we have a very wrecked Lamborghini. We have Bam Margera's Lamborghini back there, before he was probably still doing a lot of drugs, but...
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that was like prime Bam era right there.
Yeah. I do want to issue an apology for anyone who listened to last week's podcast. Not all Stellantis vehicles catch on fire, so I just wanted to point that out.
Only most of them.
Only a lot of them.
You know, I parked the Jeep next to my Explorer, I just realized.
Well, hopefully you have fire insurance on the Explorer. And might get a nice payout. Who knows?
We just need Stellantis insurance for our cars.
Stellantis insurance, special liability coverage
Yeah.
on Stellantis.
Extra coverage for theft and for
Yes,
fire.
you're right. Theft as well. Because as we know, Stellantis, if it doesn't catch on fire, it will be stolen.
So we started off
We're
apologizing.
not even
to
2 minutes
Stellantis.
in and you're already slandering
we just-
Stellantis.
Let's apologize next intro,
Slanderous.
too.
Yep. It'll be a recurring theme.
Okay, great.
Another interesting car tidbit I saw recently, a little headline, is that if you leased a car a few years ago, and your lease is coming up right around now, it is on average worth about $7,500 more, the residual, than they had initially planned.
Yeah. So buy your car out.
Yeah, meaning if you have
and
a
then
lease,
sell it back
right?
to the dealership.
Like they're going to be begging you to turn your lease in, but it's a
Don't
smart
do
thing
it.
to do. Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
Buy it and then sell it to Carvana.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll pay you a lot for it. We just, my parents just sold their BMW X1 to Vroom. Got a nice price for it.
Nice.
Yep. And then also bought a Tacoma. No, that was not Vroom. That was just from a dealer, actually. Yep. So, cars last week. Let's start with the M230i. Not M, I always say M. Just BMW 230i. Although there were no shortage of M badges on that car, probably at least 8.
13.
Oh, did you count them?
Yes, I did.
Doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good car. It they keep the name simple because it is the base model, the 230i. But that one had the M handling package and the M dynamic. It had like the dynamic steering or whatever that's called, and then also
adaptive steering,
the limited slip
diff.
differential. Yep.
Suspension as well, adaptive suspension.
I don't know that it had that. I think it was just steering, differential, and then the wheels and the side skirts and steering wheel, floor mats, the M door sill badges, all that stuff.
That thing drove amazing, though.
It really did.
Those 2 Series cars are like one of my favorite cars to drive.
Agreed.
Right now.
100%.
So tell us about your two thoughts on the M240i versus the 230i.
I would rather have an M240i because A, it's more powerful, and the all-wheel drive combined with the power makes it handle amazingly. If I was paying for it, I would probably go for the 230i because I would say it's just about as fun, but it costs 10 grand less.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
Pretty much the same as Nathan. 230i looks just as good. The powertrain just doesn't have that exciting character to it. It's a very good powertrain. It's very quiet. It's very efficient, and for what it is, it's pretty powerful for just a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's a very healthy 255 horsepower. But if I was going for the new 2 Series, I would probably go full M240i in purple.
Pony up. Thunder Knight Metallic.
Thunder Knight Metallic. It's so fast, the M240i, and it's, I don't know, it's the overall looks of the car is growing on me. I love the way it drives. It may be my favorite new BMW that I've driven.
It is really quite good.
It's such a good car. We weren't able to fully appreciate them when we drove them in California just because it was so brief. But after living with each variant of the 2 Series for 3-4 days at a time, really able to appreciate that new G42 platform for what it is, and it's It's really, really solid.
The other thing I thought was cool is, you and I were fortunate enough to test drive those first drive out on beautiful California roads. What made the 2 Series good in both forms is how good they were on everyday sort of roads as well.
Yeah.
Good ride, good daily livability, good amount of trunk space. You were just happy to hop right in, turn on the heated steering wheel, heated seats, drive away.
And that CarPlay connects instantly. It's like you get in, it's wireless CarPlay, and it seems like before you can even get the car started, your CarPlay is already connected. So I know we sometimes give grief for the wireless CarPlay systems for a number of reasons, but it actually worked really well in that 2 Series. So.
Yeah. I did notice one flaw on that car, and I don't mean this as cliche journalist. I mean it legitimately with the 230i.
Okay.
It needs a manual.
No.
It does, because the
Yeah.
M240i, I'm okay with it just being automatic because it's so fast.
I agree with
I'm
that.
okay with cars like a Stinger. Like, we go like, oh, the Stinger should have a manual. But realistically, Stinger's fine with automatic. The 230i needs a manual because it's such a lightweight driver's car, flickable, throwable.
Yeah.
And the engine is so butter smooth that when it's just shifting itself, it might as well be an EV. It's like there's no sensation to the shifts, really. Whereas if you got to push in clutch, shift, and release, it would feel more like a driver's car.
Yeah,
The
I agree
thing
with
is,
that.
though, after driving a few more manual cars, I don't get the hype about manuals.
I think you need to own one for a while.
It's just,
And because I agree with you that there are certain cars that don't need
like
manual. They're not helped
the
by having
Civic
a
SI,
manual.
like I didn't get. It's just like
That was
was
a
a
good
pretty-
manual. That was a good manual.
Except for the rev.
Rev hangs bad.
Yeah.
That's true.
But
But that car would suck if it was. Oh, I guess if it had a DCT,
yeah.
then it would be good.
Well, yeah, because like even like the GTI, I'd kind of be okay with getting the DCT.
That's a good
GTI.
manual in that car, though.
It is a good manual, but I think because it was such a like the point of a GTI is to daily it, not necessarily to have it as like a fun driver's car. I mean,
true.
it is, but it's a dual purpose sort of. I'd be okay with the manual. The 230i, I just feel like a Miata, it just would feel better if you could row your own. It adds to the engagement of the car. When we get a Miata later this year, we should just give it to Nathan for 3 straight days.
Let him
But like
drive
that
it.
Grand Cherokee, the paddle shifters felt just as engaging, is more engaging than other cars.
I disagree. I don't think a paddle shifter will ever. There's something about just being like pushing the clutch in and changing the gear. It adds to the whole experience.
Like that Blackwing Cadillac. That was just so satisfying.
And there's something about knowing if you do it wrong, the car's not gonna like it. Like it's like you're becoming one with the vehicle. It sounds cliche.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of how I feel. And I feel like the same way with motorcycles. Like if you're on just a big old like touring bike cross country, give me an automatic. I don't care. But if I'm driving a lightweight, like supposed to be the point of it is the riding experience, the driving experience, I want to shift my own. Yeah.
See, the big difference I found between motorcycles and cars is that motorcycles are so much simpler, I find. And there's just something about like the click with your foot. With cars, it just feels so much more complicated and just like.
Well, that's why I'm saying I think it's because you haven't lived with a manual. All your manual driving, you've had to like almost do a quick refresher of yourself. If you spent time like just like made it so second nature that like it's not even difficult sort of thing. You don't even.
In the Civic, because I drove a pretty good amount on the live drive that one time. It's just so like I got absolutely like no extra like fun factor. Like it's just for me it's just I just don't get it. Like why is it so much fun?
I guess it's not for everyone, but I would take a 230i with manual. And I was pointing out to Chris, you can buy older 230i's or 228i's with the manual transmission. That would be, you can get them for like $20,000, either transmission.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd want to own any new car. Let's just say
I know.
like that Grand Cherokee. I was thinking I would not want to own this car out of warranty because the air suspension has so much tech on it.
Yeah, how many
Yeah.
screens in there?
It's-
Like
You
7.
guys had some personal.
Yeah, we were already having issues, and I was having issues with that too. The screen, for some reason, until I restarted it would not undim itself, and I was in sunlight. I'm
Those
like,
do.
I can't see
Chris, the Topher had a weird issue with the last Grand Cherokee doing something with this, or maybe it was the Wagoneer. I don't know. It was one of the Stellantis SUVs.
Yeah, if you remote started it, the passenger screen wouldn't work.
That's what it
It was
was.
the Grand Cherokee that we
Yeah,
had.
and then you guys had issues because you guys took the last Grand Cherokee up north,
It
right?
stopped starting.
And it
And also
completely
the-
just killed itself.
Screen.
Yeah.
And the screen too, yeah.
Well, didn't he have issues with the because the Wagoneer had the separate climate control screen? Wouldn't that just not work?
I don't know. I only got to spend time in the
I think
Wagoneer for like
the Topher had that
night.
issue, maybe.
Yeah. And I've also heard that issue from other outlets too.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, here's the window sticker for the 230i that we had.
Now, I was going over this.
Mhm.
You need that.
We'll say what it is.
It's the dynamic handling package for
Yep.
1900.
Because that gets you the diff.
You don't need the premium package.
That's heated steering wheel, heated front seats,
Yes.
adaptive lights.
I need that.
You don't need the M Sport Package Pro.
I don't need that.
You don't need the extra M Sport package.
No.
Whatever
I don't need any of the
You
MBS.
don't
Just give me
need
heated seats.
Passenger
And the diff.
Width delete, whatever that is.
That's for the seats, I think. Yeah, something to do with the passenger seat.
You don't need the auto dimming rear view mirror.
Well, that's all included.
You do need that.
You're not paying extra for that.
It says 350 right there.
After having auto dimming mirrors,
Oh.
I just when I'm driving a car at night and the mirrors aren't dimmed, it
Oh,
just
it
drives me
drives
nuts.
Mhm.
So bad.
Yeah, no, you could build a very good 230i coupe and be out the door around 40 grand.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
you're Chris, in which
And I
case apparently you're
Me?
yeah, because you have to.
How
pay.
much would mine be?
Well,
I
you
would
said
be
you
over
needed
40.
the premium package.
Well, I
right?
wouldn't get a 230i anyways. So
Exactly.
It
So
doesn't matter.
you'd be about 55 grand for your
into an
M240i.
M240, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good car. The other thing that was remarkable is Chris, you tested the fuel economy on both the 240i
did.
and the 230i.
Yeah, so this
and
was this was interesting science. Both cars got about 34 mpg, very similar conditions, about 20 degrees, 22 degrees, both on the same set of Pirelli snow tires, same wheels. Both cars had the same wheels, and they both got the same fuel economy, and that is a huge testament to the M240i and how efficient that B58 is.
Yeah.
That inline six.
Does that do any form of cylinder deactivation?
I don't know.
I don't know. You
I don't know. BMW powertrains are just so smooth and efficient and powerful. And as funny as this is, I kind of like how BMW like underrates their powertrains. Like in the Supra, they were dynoing those cars and they were making more to the wheels than they were claimed to make at the crank.
Yep.
Which is like so
That's crazy.
hilarious.
That happened when Car and Driver got the M5 on the dyno as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
It turned more on the dyno at the wheels than it said it was supposed to make at the crank.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you look into the sciences of how cars have to report their horsepower. Essentially what they do is they take about 10 cars, test all of them, but then from there, they're allowed to choose sort of what number they report.
Interesting.
So, and this is all pretty anecdotal. It's what I've heard from engineers and other journalists, etc. Ford, for example, will take 10 Mustang engines and take the average horsepower. Some brands, and maybe this was actually Ford, will take like the second best out of all those engines. Other brands like BMW will take like the worst. So that's like the lowest horsepower you're gonna get, and most engines will actually be higher. So just kind of
Interesting.
different corporate ways of
Well,
going about.
that makes for good press. I feel like if you get,
I think
if
it
you
does
pick
too.
the lowest one and then it makes more, it's like, oh, this is fabulous. Versus claiming a car makes 500 horsepower and it only makes 450 or 400 and it's slow.
It just depends on if you want to look better on paper or do you want to look better in the real world.
That happened with old Top Gear when those the
Oh yeah.
the like 2005 Mustang GT 500 came out, and they put it on a dyno, and it made like 80 horsepower less.
So they wrote almost on the door.
Yeah, 500 almost, because they claimed 500.
Yeah, that's a pretty Ford move. I should say American automaker move in general.
I wonder what Stellantis does.
Yeah, well, they're Italian, so who knows? It could be different.
They just
every day.
lie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah.
So the 230i, very solidly good car.
Good car.
The interior was also oyster color.
Yeah. The spec kind of grew on me during the week, but
I wouldn't get the gray.
I wouldn't get the,
Alyssa liked
that
gray.
that driver's seat had a little bit of wear on it already.
Did it?
Yeah.
Like blue jean.
Dye from jeans, yeah. I
Um,
would just get like that really nice saddle color. What do they call it now? Cognac?
yeah.
That's a good
Cognac.
color.
I would get maybe a black black or Thunder Night metallic exterior.
Exterior. Oh yeah. Either would look good. Oh, I haven't seen a new 2 in black yet. I've only seen them in red,
Probably looks mean.
Thunder Night, and then now Brooklyn Gray.
Let's see if we can
The 2
find
Series looks so good too. It just looks so aggressive and.
That car is one of those cars that looked horrible in the press photos, and then you see it in person, and you get used to it more, and it's like, wow. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Wow.
Lovely. The chrome grills actually look pretty good there too, or
Yeah.
the chrome surrounds.
Yep. The old car looks so different. It looks so much nicer and like happier and like
I
smoother.
don't know.
I don't mean nicer than better. I just like kinder.
I like them both.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a neat car. Oh, this looks like a dark.
That's a blue.
What is that?
What is that?
It's just some videos playing in the background. So, anything else on the 230i?
It pretty much sounded like an EV, or when I say sounded like an EV, it felt like an EV when you were in Eco Pro mode because it was so
Yeah.
quiet
That's another good
and
point.
smooth.
I liked driving it around in Eco Pro because it was so
I
quiet.
drove it in Eco Pro.
Yeah.
Literally the whole week I was driving around in Eco Pro. Oh, goodbye.
I
Screen.
just knocked.
No.
I bumped the cable.
That's
Um,
fine. Yeah.
But yeah, it's literally one of those cars. If you were single, you didn't have to transport stuff, and let's say maybe you had a pickup truck too.
Yep.
And the roads were butter smooth everywhere you had to go.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the perfect daily to have.
Yep.
And it's not that the ride was harsh, it's just you don't want to blow out wheels.
Yeah,
every
Yes.
here in the Metro Detroit area,
Yeah.
there are so many cars, mainly Stellantis vehicles, sorry, that I see. It's Chrysler 300s, Jeep Compasses. I always see with blown out, and GTIs too.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen blown out on 23 on the side of the
Yeah.
highway.
Some poor soul had a Fiat 500 that
Oh, no.
was pulled over right before the on-ramp onto 23 with a flat tire. And I turned back around to go make sure they had something, some sort of plan. And he said, yeah, I just bought this car like a week ago. And I haven't gotten a new tire inflation kit yet for it. So he was waiting for a tow truck. Yeah,
Oh.
That's sad.
it is sad.
My mother was driving my Taurus and was behind a Lincoln MKS and was going down. It was like a ways up ahead of her and on 23 North, hit a pothole, and the wheel, it blew up so hard it tore the front whole fender off
Yeah.
and went flying off into the highway and stuff, and it was just ruined.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So good car, 230i. The other vehicle we had last week, the Hyundai Tucson plug-in hybrid.
Tucson Fev.
FEV. I haven't fully made up my opinion on this car. I like the
Yeah.
Tucson as a whole, but I don't know if plug-in hybrid is the way to go with that vehicle.
I don't know if plug-in hybrid is the way to go with
Here's my opinion. It's a great car.
anything. Side eye.
It's a great car. I like it. I would not buy one though, because it's just got no character whatsoever. It is the most robotic feeling car, and I get that sense with a lot of other
Cars-
Hyundai products.
Well, also just cars in that segment.
The Escape felt good. The RAV4 feels better.
Escape is the worst one.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel I get character from the Escape.
I guess a little bit of character like through corners because it's so light and flickable.
Well, I just get nostalgia with Fords because that's
That's-
what I grew up with.
yeah,
It's like
that-
I
that
get in a
makes
Ford
sense.
like this
Yeah.
feels
This
at
is home. Yeah.
I will say that I don't think most people in the segment are looking for character.
No.
I think they want a forgettable sort of
they
car
want a
that
car.
they can fill with Cheerios and strollers and lifestyle and
People that-
forget about.
You ask them what kind of car they have, and they're like, "It's silver."
Yeah, exactly. And this car was silver.
Yeah.
So maybe it isn't the right car, but we're talking $44,000 for a 2-row crossover.
It had a lot of good attributes.
It does have a lot of good
It's
attributes.
got good back space and
Yep.
good rear whatever
Cargo space.
cargo space,
Yep.
which surprised me in my short review.
Yep.
That, as you pointed out, was not accurate from your experience.
Right. Well, yeah. Most of the things that are good about the Tucson, the one we have, is nothing related to its powertrain. It's all things you'd get with the gas or the hybrid as well. Good amount of cargo space, good amount of rear seat space, front seat space, storage space around.
Yep.
I like in general the way things are laid out. I'm not a huge fan of the touch controls for. It's not even necessarily volume. It's the climate control.
Everything is-
I never really got used
yeah.
to because there would be times I'm driving and I it's just harder to adjust things. Like I went to turn the temperature up and it went down. And it's just like
You can if you get a worse Tucson, like a lower trim, then you don't get that screen.
Even the climate control?
display.
But the climate control's still touch though, right?
Are you sure?
I'm
Is
not
it?
sure.
Look up a picture because
Here's
I know it has a volume knob. So
Here's the other thing I hate about that center stack. It's in the Santa Cruz too. It looks so bland. Like you get in the RAV4 or even the Maverick, and car companies come like design buttons into the interior design and knobs.
Yeah.
And, like in the RAV4, they put that like swooping like cool lines on the volume knobs, and it just looks so good.
It's slightly less touch, but it's still touch for the HVAC controls.
yeah, I was almost leaning earlier this week. I was leaning towards saying that I preferred the Tucson plug-in over the RAV4 Prime, and I think I actually even said that in my review. But it's tough with Toyotas because Toyotas are usually a little bit behind, but that's not always bad because it just means that they're taking their time to perfect things and they don't put things out too soon.
And usually they're a bit more honest. And because Charlie and I were talking about this, Korean products, especially between Samsung, Kia.
That's right, Korea. We're coming after you now. Italy's getting a break.
You're next.
Samsung's Korean.
That's
why you don't have an
on
Android
paper,
phone.
They make themselves look great on paper, but in practice, when you actually use their products, they kind of overpromise, underdeliver.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that with every Samsung phone I've ever had. I went through two Note 9s because one broke, and then like in the first month of owning it, so I had another one, and then it's broken the same way just a year later.
Just stopped working.
Yeah, it's just like, what the heck?
And I kind of noticed it spending a long weekend with this Tucson, and I was kind of thinking about other Hyundai Kia products as well, things like the Stinger. Perfect car on paper, but once you spend a little more time with it, you're like, yeah, I kind of like the idea of it more than I actually like the car.
And that was our conclusion on the Stinger.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet, with things like Japanese cars, it's in general the opposite. Because you look at an Accord or a Camry or whatever, and you're like, this is woeful. Why would I get this?
Yeah.
But then you spend time in it, or even the Prius we had. You're like, why would anyone buy a Prius? And then
I
at the end of the
didn't
week,
like
you
the
go,
Prius.
damn it. Why doesn't everyone just own a Prius?
Yeah.
Prius
or even the
smelled bad.
old Prius you owned like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like so like you look at those like stupid cars that only tree huggers drive. Then you drive it, and it's like, oh my god, this is like kind of fun. And it's got character in it. Everything makes sense, and it's got no key. It's got a push button.
Have I ever talked about how my driver's ed car was a Prius?
I was going to point that out. Yeah, you learned.
I learned to drive on like a 06.
Good car.
08.
I learned to drive
Whatever.
an 07 Cobalt in the snow
Yes.
on bulb all
Cobalt.
season. And there was no
Was it a sedan or a coupe?
sedan. There was no shift knob that was broken. You just had
You just had to push down.
What?
yeah. And the what else is? Oh yeah, the turn signal. They didn't cancel, and the canceler was broken,
That's-
and the the tick noise. So you would always drive around with your turn signals on because you
Oh,
couldn't
you
hear
couldn't
it,
hear
and when it auto cancels.
That's really messed up in a way because when you're teaching a teenager how to drive, you should not be teaching them on a hoopty that has broken essential components like a shifter and a turn signal.
And
That's insane.
And then after I was done, I heard they had to switch cars because the transmission went out.
Yeah, scrap it.
It's like you're learning on a
Car probably
phone.
doesn't even exist anymore.
No, it's probably crushed.
I bet my Prius exists
No, it still
still.
exists. I see
Does
it
it?
around
See it
there.
around?
Well, then.
To be fair, you were driving. We have photos of Nathan driving our Miata as like a kid who could barely see
Yeah,
over the wheel.
manual.
Yeah. So we've all probably been driving. Did you start driving pre-16?
I was 14 when I drove my Cobalt for the first time, yeah.
Nice.
I used to sit on my parents' lap and steer up the.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
up our private road. That's northern Michigan stuff. Driving around
you guys
and everything.
were, yeah,
Hooning,
up there
hooligans.
in the woods.
Where laws don't matter.
Yeah.
And not four-wheelers. We used to play cat and mouse. We'd literally chase each other around the field and stuff. And
Yeah. Go-karts,
Go-karts,
four-wheelers,
four-wheelers,
dirt
dirt
bikes, all
Yeah.
sorts of
everything.
things. But yeah, getting back to Hyundai Kia, you look through the spec sheet, you look through all the features and stuff, you're like, yeah, this has everything and it's priced really well, but the more time you spend in them, it's not for every car. And then we are making kind of a broad generalization here, but it's just something you kind of notice when you spend time. I'm sure we'll get flamed. When you spend time with all these cars, you just kind of recognize these patterns, and there's just certain things that kind of like the Maverick and the Santa Cruz too. It's like the Santa Cruz you'd think would blow the Maverick away, but you kind of spend time in both of them. You're like, no, actually, I'd take the Maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just because of the price.
The same thing with my Tao moped. You would think, oh, this must be the most dreadful, dismal piece of garbage ever. But it's done everything I've ever asked it to do and more. I've taken it way out of its comfort zone, and it still fires up. And
Right. Yeah.
Most
so
of the time.
and my same thing
Most
with
of the- yeah, right.
my Chinese phone too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I've had this for
Nathan's a big fan of China.
Yeah,
Well,
Chairman Meow,
no.
Mao. If you'd like to promote our podcast,
I'm not communist. But please promote this podcast in China because it'd probably get 1 billion views since I have 1 billion people.
we
Why are
wouldn't
we
get we wouldn't get to
exponentially
keep any of the
growing?
money though. It would have to go to the people.
That's true.
But yeah, this has been apps, and we were actually comparing this to the new Samsung that came out because this does everything.
That was
better.
the other thing that prompted this conversation. Is again Samsung phones. There's a new feature on the new Samsung Galaxies where it says it can charge 45-watt fast charging.
That
which
would
is-
make it catch on fire, probably. They used to catch
well,
on fire.
that-
those
You're
phones.
right. That's a good point. Samsung's catch on fire. They don't. No, not Note 7s did. But anyway, the previous phone was 25-watt fast charging, and they were like, this new one, 45-watt fast charging. Which, okay, fair enough, good. It will charge at that rate for a minute, and then it starts throttling itself down. So again, on paper, they get to say up to 45-watt
Yeah.
fast charging, but then it doesn't actually. And
it
Nathan's
is.
phone that's like 2 years older still charges faster.
Yeah, it can do like 65 watts fast charging for the entire duration of the charge.
Right. And then you get someone like Apple, who a lot of times, they, again, kind of like Toyota, a little bit behind the curve.
I was just going to say.
and then under promise, but like
I just
it's
have
just
the Toyota phone.
Right, and it just works.
does the thing.
yeah. So
And you always know how to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and getting back to the Tucson on that topic, it's a plug-in hybrid. Okay, great. So I went out to do the plug-in hybrid test.
Yeah.
It can't make its own heat on just electric alone. So if you want to drive it as an electric vehicle, you must freeze in the winter.
That I was freezing in the back of that
Yeah,
versus my Explorer.
Does it not have heated rear seats?
it does.
It does, but it's,
Oh.
you can't
Turn that
keep
boy
it
on.
No, we had the heat going that day when you were riding in the back.
But it took a long time to get warm. I was cold for a long time.
Okay. But like the RAV4 Prime, if you want to own that and use it as an electric vehicle for its 45 or so miles of range, like it will act as a 100% electric vehicle. The Tucson,
yeah.
if you push the gas too hard down, it engine pump.
The only thing is, I was able to do a 0 to 60 run.
Yeah.
Just
You
in
just
the
can't.
zone.
You just can't
You
click.
just gotta. Yeah.
He did
I
it.
can
He showed
prove
me.
it.
I did it too, actually, during my review.
If you put the pedal all the way down,
Yeah.
it
No.
didn't click
no,
on.
it didn't.
No,
kick
no, it would. You just have to.
in. Well,
You have to
just-
keep it under
you
that
can't
little.
Get it till it clicks. Didn't it have a click?
No, there's not a click
down
down pedal. What it is the gauge goes to about 90%,
Oh,
and then there's. But see, you're not pressing the gas all the way.
No, I'm watching it.
Exactly, you have to watch it.
oh.
And in the RAV4 Prime, you don't have to watch it. You just put your foot down.
Put your foot down.
If you put your foot down on this, it's going to kick in. I wish there were a kick down button. Because if there were a kick down button, you could put your foot all the way to the kick down button. That's how Volvos do it in their plug-in hybrids.
Yeah.
You can put it all the way down to there, but if you need the engine in an emergency situation, click.
How much nicer would the world be if everyone just drove a Volvo?
Much nicer.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much
All
better.
right.
I feel like there'd be less war, less fighting.
Mm-hmm. Russia needs Volvos. That's how we solve this crisis.
Now they can't
ship
get
them a bunch of
anything.
Volvos.
Volvos.
Yep.
Another thing, just
It'd also help in a war setting. Sorry, Nathan, because you could probably shoot a Volvo with a missile and it would just bing, it'd
Yes,
bounce
Nathan
off.
even pointed out you can shop bulletproof Volvos on their website.
That's right.
Security details.
Okay, sorry.
Although
Anyways.
Volvos are made by China now, so they're already in bed
they
with
Chinese?
Russia, and
Interesting.
and so they can just ship them right over. Should be good.
look at the interior, just in general of the Tucson. Just like see how the center stack just looks so boring. Now look at the RAV4 interior. Woo! Look at those buttons and how it all looks so much more just welcoming.
Looks old.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, I like the
Oh.
Tucson interior better.
Maybe the interior in general, but just like the center stack.
I hate the screen on the RAV4.
I hate
The way it's just
Yeah.
tacked on top.
I do get that.
Well,
but-
I don't even necessarily hate the way it looks.
Well,
I
go
just
to
hate-
like a boring one. Like go to the. Look at your.
I like that interior in the Tucson.
And another thing, if you look at that.
And
photo
another
sedan,
thing.
the screen is not straight on, it's angled. So I was sitting in the back and my OCD was flaring up because it's not straight.
It's driver centric.
It's like, why?
Because the driver needs it more.
But you can't, they block out half the features anyway when you're moving because, the driver can't touch it. So why do they do it anyway?
Does it? I don't think Hyundai's that bad with that. What features do they block out?
I don't know, but I know cars do it. It's like passengers exist too. And how much more of a difference is it going to make? You know what would help the driver ease using it? Put freaking buttons in it instead.
I do wish it had buttons. I
love buttons.
I like the Tucson as a non-plug-in hybrid. I'm good with it. I just don't think it's the right plug-in hybrid to get.
I like.
Has there ever been? I feel like we always come to this conclusion. Has there ever been a trim of a car? I guess maybe the RAV4 Prime that you would recommend getting a plug-in over the other powertrain options?
C-Max, but it's dead.
Okay.
Volvos.
Current cars. Volvos. Okay.
Yep, I would recommend the Volvo because it fits the character of the car so well. The only downside is the range isn't super far on the Volvo plug-in hybrids.
So you wouldn't recommend an Escape plug-in. You wouldn't recommend a Tucson plug-in. Would you recommend a RAV4 Prime?
Yes, but only
over a regular
only
RAV4
for
hybrid.
the right sort of buyer.
So not just in general.
Not blanket. No.
Okay. So only Volvos.
Yeah, probably only Volvos.
Okay.
And part of that's because the only other engine you can get with the Volvo is just the 2-liter turbo anyway. So it's not like you're getting some. It's not like you're giving up some fantastic powertrain.
That's true.
The Tucson hybrid, standard hybrid, is excellent because it's a good motor paired with a good transmission, and the hybridness kind of fills in the torque gaps in the lower ends of the motor.
Yeah.
So it's just a good. It's a very good powertrain. It's much cheaper. I would not get the Tucson plug-in hybrid. I'd get the Tucson, but not the Tucson plug-in hybrid. In fact, let's take a quick peek at that class of vehicle right now. Where are we here?
I've come up with my opinion on the Tucson.
Okay.
0 out of 10 for not having buttons.
General
That's
consensus.
Cars will not be if I ruled the country, cars without buttons would not be allowed to be sold here.
So look at that. U.S. News Reports plots the Tucson top. 9 out of 10.
Who put that there?
Oh goodness. You're
That's
not
true.
gonna be allowed to drive any
Anti-Mazda.
Mazdas.
I saw some people were a little bit upset with you in the comments about not liking Mazdas.
Good.
Yeah. Mazdas are
I
excellent.
love
they're not.
Mazdas.
They are.
No. They
Mazdas have
kill people.
they have buttons or knobs,
They
knobs
kill
and buttons.
people.
Yes, but they have knobs and buttons.
If they kill people, it's okay because they have knobs
and buttons.
No, they're dreadful. And they're old.
The Tucson is I would put it up there. I like the CRV as well. I haven't driven the new Sportage, but
That's not the new Sportage.
I was going to
though.
say the new one comes out next year. We saw one on the live drive actually.
Slow down.
A new one.
I saw a picture of one on Twitter that appeared to be on a dealership inventory lot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Bronco
What?
Sport.
No.
Bronco Sport's really good.
That's ridiculous. Put it up more.
It's 5. How much higher do you expect it to go?
1.
5.
Fords can't be 1.
No, they
Yes, they
Except for the
can't
do
Maverick.
that.
Put that. That is a Maverick, but there's a topper on it.
I would rather have a CX-5.
I'd rather have a CX-5 or a Tucson than
Yeah,
a Bronco Sport. I
me too.
like the Bronco Sport a lot. I just don't trust Ford.
I'd pick it over a CRV.
Yeah, but that's for Europe. You have to
Plus,
remember.
look at the Ford Europe doesn't make the Bronco Sport.
Well, it's the Escape, so yeah, they do. It's pretty much the classic cars, the Escape.
I think. Why do you think Ford Europe makes the Escape?
It's the Kuga.
But they've always made the Escape, but then they just literally tacked on just different body panels.
But I think the Escape's like a Ford America car.
No, it's the Escape's always been a Europe car.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's always been designed in Germany with the German power plant.
Where's your
German
source for
technology.
this
Just
information?
Years of
Me knowing.
The Fiesta, the Focus, and the Escape,
Well, those
and
obviously.
the C-Max, they're all European. Then
So
you
it's the
have
platform.
It's the platform and the design of the interior. If you just
Okay.
look, like they're all European Ford.
Why is the Forester number 6? Or wait, no, it's tied for number 5.
We'll get to that. But also look at the price of the Bronco Sport. It starts at $27, whereas you can get a Tucson for $25.
Where's the Escape at?
And a
Probably,
6.5.
hopefully far down.
Why?
The Escape's not that good.
It's
Oh God, it's
brilliant.
below the Rogue. That's how you know.
You know, I actually don't mind the Forester.
The Forester can burn.
Yeah,
The Forester's probably
I'm
my
with
second
Nathan on
favorite
this one.
Subaru. Have you driven one? New one?
No.
It's not bad.
Is it anything like the Outback?
No, it's better.
I would.
How
put-
could it not be anything like the Outback? Isn't it
the
the same
Outback's
powertrain?
porkier.
Is it the same powertrain?
Couldn't
Definitely
tell you off
is.
the top of my head.
I would put the Forester in last just to annoy Subaru owners because they are the most entertaining to annoy.
Nissan Rogue. I would take a RAV4 over the Rogue.
Yeah, me too.
Four down there.
But 7th is still pretty good.
7.
We just talked about Toyotas. You should always just get the Toyota.
Yes, that's true, but that doesn't mean it's better.
I would say it's better than the Tucson.
I would say the Tucson is a better car, but I would take the RAV4. The RAV4 is loud. You ring out the engine on the RAV4 and it's... What was that?
Kanye West saying 7.
Ah. The RAV4 sounds like you're going to blow the engine up every time you have to accelerate.
That is true. Well,
That's exactly
But
Toyotas
it's
in
true.
general.
It's because you have to ring them
exactly what
out.
my stepmother was saying.
Yeah. Yeah, our stepmother, who just traded her X1 in for a RAV4, essentially, she was saying that the RAV4 is much, much slower. And it's really not that it's that much slower. It's just the X1's powertrain was so much smoother. She could just lean into it and be doing 60. Whereas the RAV4, she has to ring out. She doesn't like ringing it out. So she's just like
I get that.
barely
But
getting on the
let me
power.
put it to you this way: if you had to buy one 10 years old, what would you take?
The RAV4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I rest.
I think
But
the
we're talking about
Tiguan
new
is
cars.
the Tiguan's also ranked too low. I would rank it CX-5 first.
Who put the Equinox down there?
Anyway,
The Equinox is brilliant.
you can't judge cars you haven't driven.
I have driven an Equinox.
Not a new one.
They're pretty much the same as. It's just a facelift.
I thought you'd driven a Traverse.
Well, that was an older Traverse. I haven't driven the new Traverse. And that was good too. Chevy makes good cars.
Why is the Jeep Wrangler on here?
Why is the Escape not even? They don't even have the
It's,
Escape.
oh, there it
right?
is. It's not ranked yet. Oh, there you go. Maybe it'll be ranked higher.
Wait, what's that? What's at the bottom?
What website is this? Because I don't.
U.S. News. It's quite
U.S. News.
Is this a you know who affiliated website?
No, I just like using U.S. News because they show all the cars in a very
Okay.
straightforward.
Let's look at Car and Driver because
Well, Car and Driver doesn't rank, like, they don't show all the rankings very well.
that didn't even have the Escape.
Here, this is from,
2021.
this is a year old.
They'll have the
Worse.
Mazda first because they love Mazda.
Nero.
I've never heard of whatever that is that you just went by. Compass.
It's Hyundai's hydrogen car.
Nexo.
Compass.
You saw
agreed.
one in person, a Nexo.
Eclipse.
Did I
Cross.
really? I thought
Yeah.
it looked bigger than that, whatever that was.
Agreed.
Anyways, agreed. Yep, agree with that.
No.
Keeping on agreeing. Oh,
No,
perfect.
what?
There's the Escape down at the
That's
bottom.
ridiculous.
Yep.
Haven't driven a Sportage.
Oh,
This is old
That's
Tucson.
the old Tucson.
Forester.
Oh, for
yeah.
God's sake.
Okay, that's probably about
Rogue,
right.
yeah.
Okay, Rogue, yeah.
Outlander. Wow.
Interesting. Number 6.
I kind of agree with
Bronco
that.
Sport.
They
there it is.
Isn't it funny? They-
Who's
they-
ever doing this with their Bronco Sport?
They put the Outlander above the Rogue.
I
which is
would
hilarious.
too. Yeah.
Bronco
RAV4,
Sport,
Yeah,
RAV4,
there we go.
CRV,
Yeah.
yeah. T1. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there it
CX-5.
is.
Oh, for God's sake. No. They're
I agree with their top 2 there. I don't love the CRV, but
Let's see who else ranks. Let's see what Motor Trend says. Oh, they're gonna make us click through a gallery.
CX-5 is going to be first.
13.
Cherokee, yep, bottom. Oh wow, T1 quite
Interesting.
low. Interesting.
Opposite of Car and Driver.
Terrain, yep.
No.
Sportage, yep. Equinox,
No.
yep. Outlander, yep.
We'll have the
Escape,
Rogue.
yep.
Why? What's so bad about
The Escape.
It's not good.
It's not a
It's
good car.
brilliant.
Old Tucson makes sense. RAV4, there we go. Top 5.
Higher.
Ah, look,
Yes,
there you go.
yes.
That's
Whoa.
that's fair.
Five
It's a
and
little
fourth.
dated. Rogue. Ooh.
Oh.
Disagree with that.
Cancel. What is this?
Motor Trend.
We're canceling
Yeah.
Motor Trend.
Motor Trend's
How could they
canceled.
put the Rogue above the CX-5? Oh,
Why?
no.
CRV. Yeah. Okay.
All right, they are bullcrap.
Who else?
I think I agree pretty strongly with Car and Driver's ranking.
How about KBB? RAV4. That makes sense.
Yes.
KBB is going to be very.
KBB's a scam. KBB is yes, it is. You know, KBB in general.
Thank you,
is-
Five.
Oh, for God's, that's bull.
What?
Off that.
The Q5 is like the worst thing you can possibly buy.
Ow.
It's an Audi.
You can't be on a car publication and just say a car's bad because it's a brand.
It is.
That ruins your credibility.
No, I can say that.
Well, then you're gonna have your credibility wrong. How about cars?
I hate cars.
They know cars, right?
Cars.com. Well, they got cars.
Well,
in
they
the
put it
title.
very straightforward. Rogue, Tucson, Forester, Tiguan. Yeah, that's ass. Oh, that was not in any specific order. Oh no, that is their final ranking. Yeah,
Let me see
that's-
if this one publication has a list.
How about Edmonds? Oh, that's extra small. small crossovers. CRV, CX-5. Don't agree with the Rogue. Tucson, Forester, Cherokee. Wow, they put the Cherokee pretty high. Redesigned in 2014. Is that right, Chris?
The what?
The Cherokee hasn't been
Yeah.
redesigned since
Yeah,
2014.
14. It got a mild facelift in like 2018 or something.
Yeesh. Huh. Well, either way, Tucson is good. Don't buy the plug-in hybrid.
You don't know what really bugs me about it. It's not necessarily that the new ones are bad. It's what happens to them when they're 8 years old. High schoolers buy them and chop the exhaust off and go around just tearing through
What is it?
small little all used Audis. High schoolers buy them.
And
bathe in
Infinities.
them. Maybe Infinities down here, but up north they all buy Audis. They cut the exhaust off and they deafen you in 8 in the morning as they come screaming by a high school parking lot, revving it up in the park, and then in the middle of the night they'll go just tearing, blasting up and down the
Are
roads,
they-
going through the little towns.
Are they students at the high school,
Yeah,
or are
they're
they
students.
picking
They
up their
literally-
high school
They
girlfriend?
appreciate so much so they can all afford them.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, it's fine, and they all blow up too.
They do.
Therefore,
do
the
some
Q5 is a
buying.
bad car.
Yes.
Okay.
So was the R8 then, right? Audi R8.
You know
Bad
what?
car.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of the R8 because it's just, and same thing with the Huracan. It's just like
Okay.
they've lost all because all YouTubers buy them. The YouTubers, they buy the Lamborghinis, they put stupid wraps on them, put emblems all over the side. They go, check out my Lamborghini, guys, bro. I just bought the Audi R8 too, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. But first, I'm gonna sponsor all this random crap.
Sponsored by
And let me
Bang.
show you my new dog and my crib and everything. It's just like it's
Parker and Eddie, you're on blast.
Yep.
Not Eddie.
He's got an R8.
Yeah, but he's not flashy though. He's not really
Yeah,
a
he
flashy.
is. He's literally
Eddie?
just he's Walmart
No, he's
version
not.
of Parker.
Wow.
Come at me.
I will not stand for this
Come
Eddie
at
slander.
me.
Eddie's you've never even have you met Eddie before?
Yeah, I think.
Eddie's a
Just
really
briefly.
Eddie's a really good guy.
He is, but I did find his showing up at Mama with the R8 and parking it right in front for everyone to see a little ostentatious. Made it very clear that he was there in his R8. But, you know,
But it's like literally like I feel like
I don't have an R8, so, you know, I guess
If I had
can't
it,
speak.
to be fair, if I had an R8, I would probably
First of all, you wouldn't buy an R8. I
That's-
know you.
okay,
So
thank
that's
you.
first thing. And second of all, you probably would have parked it at the hotel and walked.
that's
The rest of us.
yeah, that's true.
And I guess they're not bad cars. I never driven one, but it's just what drives me nuts is like literally, and like Doug DeMuro says the same thing, but it's they either have a McLaren or a Lamborghini or a McLaren or an R8.
Well, next time
or
we
a
get
McLaren.
next time we get an Audi or a McLaren, you don't have to drive it.
Good, because I don't want to. It just looked like every other YouTuber in history.
This week at DMHQ, we have on our premises a Volvo XC40
And
Recharge.
it is fast, and the infotainment is top notch.
Does it have the Android Automotive?
Yep, and in my short drive, I like in detail went through everything about it. And it's just so crisp and good and simple, like an iPhone. Like the homepage is you just got your apps, you click on them, it goes into it. It's fast, responsive, it's intuitive.
Would you
Is
say
it-
it's good enough to not need a phone projection? Android
Yes.
Auto or Apple
Yes,
CarPlay?
'cause
Okay.
It practically
literally
is a phone.
It just is a phone, yeah. Okay, I'm looking forward to using that then.
It's cool how Google Maps works on there because it's like straight up just Google
I will
Maps.
say I still prefer Teslas over. I think it's a little bit too small, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some
They are
screens
kinda
that are only
little.
big for the sake of being big, but Tesla does a good job with its actual screen real estate.
And I didn't play with it that much, and this would be on Volvo, not the Android Automotive. But when you put it in reverse, I can only figure out a way to choose between the 360 camera and the backup camera. There's a split, but if you chose one or the other would go black.
Uh-huh. That could be a Volvo thing. Volvos make weird safety decisions sometimes. Does it have, and I almost know the answer is no, but does it have a power adjusting steering column?
No.
Figured as much.
And the other thing, it whacked my hand so hard when you pull it.
Some steering column things do that. Have
That's
you ever
a
been?
that's a Stellantis thing.
It is a Stellantis thing. Damn it. I was gonna say every Ram I get into, you go ah. Yeah.
What was the,
And the Jeep Wrangler.
And the Jeep, and I bet does this Jeep have
That should
No,
have
it's
a power.
Yeah,
It's Summit
power.
Reserve. Yeah.
But what was that we were in last time? The Wrangler.
There you go.
It was
Yeah.
like, ooh.
Yeah, what is it with
It hurts. It stings.
Something.
Yeah.
Stellantis? We love you. But come on,
You know what's
man.
funny? I was just thinking the other day, I really wish we would get more Stellantis stuff. I know that we
We trash them, but we love
but
them.
I love their cars. I love their cars so much.
That Grand Cherokee has so many quality issues, and the infotainment is ridiculous.
And yet you'd still consider
That's
buying
why we
it.
like
I
them,
was
though.
trying like this. Like, how do they make it so fun?
They don't take themselves so seriously.
Exactly.
It's
It's
just
like-
it's
it's
the
like-
car.
Let's just make another Charger.
Yeah,
Let's make
let's-
the
let's-
douchebag edition.
Let's put
with-
some eBay fender flares on it and
Yeah.
call it something totally
The
new.
exhaust note. Let me just play it real fast into the microphone here.
Sounds like a V6.
Good old Pentastar 3.6 liter.
Sounds like a 350Z.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and the handling. I don't know how. So
Wait a minute, we're talking about the XC40 right now.
Oh. Well,
We'll get to the Jeep. We'll get to the Jeep. What color is the XC40?
I don't know.
I think it's gray.
It's like grayish green.
Yeah, greenish gray. Yeah,
Um,
I know.
I really saw.
It's actually more blue.
Ooh,
It's
that
great.
looks good. It's an attractive car.
I don't know.
I've always thought that those look nice.
Like all car makers, if you're gonna make EV, follow Tesla's lead and don't try and integrate the grill in an EV way. Just make it flat.
Yeah,
I like
kind
that.
of
I
agree
think
with
it
that.
looks nice.
I really don't like the way it looks.
Really?
It's fine, but
Oh, Thor's hammer.
it's just like
It does have a two-tone roof.
Yeah.
At least it's black.
I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. Also, it's really hard to get in. Once you get in the rear seats, it's fine, but the opening's so tight.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't realize with subcompact SUVs, their back seats
small.
are not big.
The
Like
sole purpose of this car is to sit up high.
Yeah.
And then that's it, the end.
right, and to make people think they have an SUV.
Yeah. I mean, you could have just told Americans that the Focus was an SUV and they would have bought it.
They almost did. Remember when they were going to bring the Focus
Focus
Active?
Active.
I
Well,
want that so
They
bad.
could have just continued making the Focus hatchback and told buyers it was an SUV and they would have bought it.
Toyota practically did that with the Corolla Cross.
Yeah, and Hyundai does it with the Kona.
Yeah, you're right.
The Kona is not
This
an
isn't a
SUV.
hatchback. It's an SUV.
Yeah,
Whoa,
the
okay,
Kona's
put the
not an
money.
SUV.
Look it up real fast. Just how awesome that thing. It was in a state.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Focus Active or
Yeah.
whatever? Or
It was
Focus. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, it was gonna be in a state. It was gonna be lifted, but still a Focus. And
Do they have that in Europe?
yeah, they've been everywhere in the world.
Active X. Ooh, that's kind of cool looking. Ooh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Look at the red one. The red one is, no, go down
You
two
can
more.
also get an ST wagon.
Yeah. Why don't we have that here? That would be
Because
lovely.
Ford doesn't love us.
Ford just wants to make Americans feel bad. That's exactly what we were gonna get.
The woman too.
And the umbrella.
It comes with a
Umbrella.
woman.
Yeah. No, it's an awesome car. I love
looks
the new
really
Focus
good.
It's a
Fiesta.
Subaru Outback Wilderness, but it's not garbage.
Okay, there you go.
I want that.
Little 3-cylinder Fiesta ST action.
Yup. And look at the Ford Puma too that we don't get.
Oh, that looks different now. They've facelifted it.
The Ford Puma ST. And
We always
they brought
talk about-
taco crap over here.
We
Yeah,
always talk about Fords that we can't get. I feel like that comes up every podcast.
Better Fords in other countries.
That looks cool too.
Almost looks like an Alpha.
Yeah, it does.
A Mito.
A Mito.
That
Yeah.
looks so good. And they've got an ST on the Nürburgring too.
XC40. What's the we should bring up the window sticker real quick. What's the range on it?
I don't know, but it's really
You told me 220.
4.6 seconds.
Oh, there's no Monroney on it. Okay.
Oh.
Look it up.
0 to 60 at 4.6 seconds.
Fast.
220. So just barely squeezing in there. Doesn't look like the most efficient. MPGe on the highway is only like 79. In comparison, our Tesla was 119. So
What was it actually?
no, the efficiency was actually 119.
119.
It was not the efficiency that's misrepresented by Tesla. It's the range. It's the battery capacity that's misrepresented. I'm looking forward to spending time with the XC40 Recharge. I think it'll be good. I think it's a little low on range for a lot of people, but I think it's nice.
And also, they didn't do the stupid thing that a lot of car companies do, where they make the ride as harsh as possible.
It's
Yeah,
400.
rides.
Sorry,
Yeah.
400 horsepower.
Yeah, it does 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds.
It's also kind of expensive. Look, it starts at $52,000. That's a lot of money.
Why not just get a
Mach-E.
Model 3 or
Mach-E GT.
Yeah.
Model Y longer range?
Almost a Mach-E
Couldn't
GT.
get a Model Y long range. It's about 60. But Yeah, no, there are a lot of cars. That's probably going to be the downfall of the Volvos. Like, it's good, but there are a lot of better options.
Yeah.
I'm predicting that. Other car we have. Oh, there's
I was just say, get that over a Mach-E because like you don't trust Ford that much.
right.
That's
That's
a little
fair.
bit more unique. There's a lot of Mach-E's around.
I still don't. I would have trouble if I wanted to own it for a while. I'd definitely have trouble trusting the Mach-E.
Volvo would not make a car that catches on fire.
Good point.
Volvo would also make it so that the charging always works.
Although it might have coronavirus in it because they're made in China.
Are they made in China?
I don't know if this is the XC60 is made in China.
Interesting.
Yep.
Demonetized by the Chinese communists.
Yeah, we're trying to gain the support of the Chinese, Charlie.
You're right. Coronavirus is a hoax.
Nathan's been using a Chinese
Trump's
phone
the
for
best.
2 years just for that purpose.
I'm getting a Chinese radio in my.
Ah, yes, you're right. We're putting a Chinese radio in your
Imagine if
Explorer.
we got.
Is it going to speak Chinese?
Be unfortunate.
Yeah.
Live translate.
Imagine if we like found a way to get our channel like sponsored in China so that the Chinese could watch it.
Well,
They already do. They just steal it and put it over there.
Yeah, I've been reached out to by like China's equivalent of YouTube, like a sponsor for them to be like, can we take your videos and put it on there and pay you like a low amount of money? I was like, no, but probably should at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, other car we have this week, Jeep Grand Cherokee L.
Summit Reserve.
Envoy. Yeah, Summit Reserve. So is Summit Reserve the highest trim?
Yes.
Wow, it must be.
It is.
expensive then.
Yeah, but it has the V6, so you save some money there.
So here's the thing about it. The interior material quality is amazing. The build quality is really bad. There are even some panels that are starting to come off in there. The infotainment, it's well designed, not well executed. It was laggy. It's already giving me some issues. And we had another Grand Cherokee a while ago, and tons of technical difficulties and issues.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on there.
What shocked me the most is how fun and engaging it was to drive out on the
Oh
sidewalk.
my God, 67,000.
Which in the grand scheme of things, like compare that to an Escalade or like a Tahoe or a regular Yukon.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
that,
everything's
but
pretty
that would
expensive at this
compete
point.
with the Wagoneer, though.
No, the regular Yukon would probably compete with the.
This would compete with like an Explorer, and you
Yeah,
could
this would
probably
be
get
an
an Explorer
Explorer.
Platinum up around this price.
Yeah.
Well,
King
probably
Ranch.
Not the L. The L would probably compete more with just the regular Yukon, just in terms of.
But that's a body on frame SUV.
Isn't
and
this
is
Jeep body
not-
on frame? No, it's unibody.
No,
you're
this
right.
is unibody.
Anyway, it drove the steering for some reason was so direct, like it dove into corners and it handled fine, but it's just how fun it was, and the paddle shifters were super responsive. It made
ZF8 speed's really
yeah,
good.
Yeah,
the little-
they do a good
it made
job
the little
integrating the
8-speed
paddles,
parts every
too.
now and then.
Oh, really?
And the engine, it was just so like it wanted you to just keep going faster and faster, and it was slow. It just in like 8.7.
It's a big, heavy car for that V6.
yeah,
so-
but it was just so good.
I like how manufacturers continue to come up with different things to call their leather. This is Alamo leather seats.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Who the hell knows? There's random like. First it was like Napa leather, and then it's like Nebraska leather, and it's like
They used to call was it Napa leather? They called it in the Challengers that you
I
used
think
to.
so.
Yeah.
You could get like various.
You
It's
could
just
get zero gravity seats in the Nissans.
yeah, we're very comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is going to be good. Hopefully it works the whole time we have it. We are probably going to try to tow with it if it does have a hitch. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's 67's a lot, but Jeep's essentially becoming the American Range Rover. Flashy, expensive,
That is
and
pretty much
unreliable.
what I get. Thank you. That's what I gathered from the last Grand Cherokee. I loved that last Grand Cherokee. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I emerged from the experience thinking this reminds me a lot of a Range Rover.
There you go.
And I think you said it perfectly. Flashy.
We took an L off road as well, and it did.
We did.
super well.
At
This will
Mama,
get really, really high up. Did you put it all the way up in its max mode?
yeah.
It's something like 10 inches of ground
Right.
clearance or something like that.
The one we off-roaded was a V8, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of a shame this isn't a V8, but with today's gas prices, I'm not too bummed. Apparently, you can call 1-877 I am Jeep.
Why does it say FCA still?
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah. That's an attractive SUV. Also,
Yeah.
it looks really good.
I am.
Even the facelifted Compass, the new Compass with the new fascias and the new interior. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah,
It gets so high up.
yeah.
And it's such an easy.
Jeep's been doing some good things.
It's
All right,
such
we're calling 1877. I am Jeep.
Oh,
Why? You're
Thank you for calling the Jeep Customer Assistance Center. Para recibir
That's what
ayuda
it
en
is,
español,
customer assistant.
diga- Which of these can we help you with? Say, roadside assistance, recall information, Uconnect and Bluetooth, Mopar vehicle protection,
dude,
or
you
say,
can-
it's
My Jeep has burned.
great.
you can say roadside assistance.
Yeah, no, it's not going to recognize that. They should have it.
My Jeep is no longer in one piece because it is caught on fire.
For towing and roadside assistance,
There you go. We'll send you a tow truck.
It should be cool. It should be good. I'm looking forward to spending time in it. I don't know if I would own one.
They make them in Detroit.
Do they? Oh, does it say it's build location?
Yeah, Final Assembly Point, Detroit.
Michigan.
It's pretty cool.
Probably. Do they build them in Sterling Heights, or do you think this is actually like Detroit proper?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Would be Sterling Heights.
We should know things like this. Oh well. Any other personal car stuff? I feel like,
Personal car stuff?
well, just anything. Any other cars we drove this week that matter? My minivan tire is still flat.
I don't think.
Oh, the weather's gonna be super nice, so we're gonna get the motorcycles out this week.
Yeah, did I
Look
drive
forward
any
to
of my
that.
I didn't drive any of my. You drove my E46 this week, briefly.
Was it? Yeah, it was last week.
You did.
Yeah, then last week it was.
What'd you think? We did have to jump it because it sat for so long that
That's
it
true.
died.
It was an easy jump.
Yeah.
Very
It
easy.
wasn't super dead. It was just a
No.
little bit dead.
It was nice.
We fit 6 people in my Explorer.
Oh, yeah, we used your Explorer's third row. It was nice. Yeah. Although no heat vents back there. That's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
It is pretty old.
It is
so
pretty old.
Can give it that
They
excuse.
still, the heat vents existed back then. I don't know why they thought they had to not have them. But I understand that it's not a third row that's probably supposed to be used all the time.
Yeah.
Not like your piggy van.
Right. Yeah. It's
Peggy.
not a full on
Extra.
and it's not an expedition. Put it that way. Yeah, I think that's about it. I didn't do anything else car related.
Copart.
Yeah.
You want to do the Copart segment?
Right. Yeah. Do you have any co-parts for us?
Well, I sent you a C-Max earlier. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah. Talk about that.
I will read you the lot number.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
368 668 12.
This is a 2013 Ford C-Max SE. It looks like it's been hit quite aggressively in the front, but it looks like a high up hit. It looks like they ran into the rear bumper of like a lifted truck.
Yeah. High up hits are usually good because it avoids the frame. So, I mean, your core support's going to be pretty mangled, but
130,000 miles, runs and drives, front end, and minor scratches.
you know what's interesting is somebody painted the door trim black.
Oh, you're right.
Interesting.
Looks quite good.
Yeah, I don't think it looks bad.
Yeah. It does seem like a pretty good deal. The sad thing is this will probably go for like $4,000.
Probably will. Yeah.
Yeah. I almost bid on a Copart. In fact, I did bid on a Copart car.
Is it a Buick LeSabre?
It was not. It was a Kia Optima hybrid
Really?
from like 2011. It was like first year of that, and it ended up selling for only like $2,000. But it
What'd you
was
bid?
it was an off-site run and drive. I bid up to like $1,500. Yeah, just like 130,000 miles on it, run and drive off-site.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I give you another lot number. 695 062 71.
Oh boy.
Okay, so hear me out.
BMW.
So it's a
And
09.
It's a 5 series.
It's a 09 535 XI. So it's a turbo inline six.
Oh no.
So
How is this not a salvage title?
let me show you something cool.
It's a wagon.
It's a wagon. Okay.
manual.
Yes, it's a manual turbo wagon. This is a rare spec. Now go to the interior. Not only it also has sport seats, it has a sport steering wheel. This is probably I was
But
going
it
to
has
say
low tire pressure.
Oh no. I think it looks a lot worse than it is because go to the engine bay.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and the airbag didn't go off.
No, it got hit at like a weird angle.
Yeah, it did.
That is bankruptcy.
It is. No, it is. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, there was an editor at Car and Driver, Mr. Sabatini. He had one of these, and in manual, it's a 530 though. The 530i manual wagon is actually incredibly rare. This is a very rare car you're showing. But he had a 530i manual wagon, and he said it was just awful for reliability. And it would have things like the radio unit for the head unit, iDrive, and everything. All the electronics were positioned underneath the floor of the trunk.
Oh, so they'd get wet.
Yeah, they got wet. They leaked into the trunk and ruined the radio.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of my friends in high school, he bought a 5 Series, like an '07, and I said, that thing is going to be horribly unreliable.
You're right. I said that to you to say to him, too.
And he got all mad, you know what you're talking about and stuff, and it never worked.
Yeah.
But when it worked once, and another one of my friends bought it from him, and one time I actually ran into him in this one dirt parking lot that happened to be in, and it was a V8. He was doing donuts, and it sounded so good.
It was a V8 wagon?
No, not a wagon. It was just a...
Oh, just a V8, like a 545 or a 550?
It sounded amazing, but again, it sounded like it was just so bad.
Do you think it's enhanced, Chris, because the engine doesn't run, or because of the
No,
tires?
enhanced just means they like hosed it off.
So it could totally not be a working car because it's not run and drive.
Well, when BMWs crash, although the airbags didn't go off, so I don't know why it doesn't run. It might just not run because it's an N54.
Should we bid on it?
If you want.
$700?
Yeah, I mean the parts alone on that thing, I'm sure the full sport interior, the manual transmission, the engine, the wagon parts like the rear doors, the hatch, the taillights, it's probably all worth a lot of money.
Do it.
Are you actually bidding on it? And we've bid on it. And we're winning. Is it a pure sale?
Minimum bid.
Okay, so at least you're not on the hook if something happens.
Cool. Well,
we're
tune in next week to see if we are rightful owners of a
Nathan's
2009
just cringing.
BMW 535
That thing's
XI.
excellent. I hope that you win that for $700.
Just having the clear title of a 535i wagon manual is probably enough right there. Nathan doesn't want to show his face on this podcast anymore. It's okay. We'll just buy all Mazda CX-5s from now on.
We'll only get Mazdas now.
Yep.
Um,
Any others?
I was just gonna say, going off of what Nathan just said, did you guys used to like crash into your friends in high school just as a joke?
No.
No. So I had this really. You guys wouldn't do that. We had we all had our nice cars, and then we all had beaters for winter. So we would like we all watched Top Gear, so we would do the thing where we'd bump into each other and shit in the school parking lot.
That would be pretty funny.
It was so fun. I mean, we all just had crappy cars for winter, so it didn't matter. They all were already scratched up and stuff, so we'd bump into each other and thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Someone in my high school, this guy, he was so accident prone. He did things like he put MacBook Airs in ceilings and stuff, or throw computers away as a joke, and then they'd be taken away in the dumpster and be lost. Well, one time he wrecked his Subaru and was up against a tree, and I waited with him until the police came. But one time he backed into somebody's Focus in the parking lot just a little bit, and I got the guy whose Focus wanted like $2 or $3 grand from him.
Nice.
No, we used to just park very, very close, parallel up to other people so that they were parked in.
We used to do that too. We would, or we'd park in the grass at the school. Yeah. Or park across 3 spots.
Well, your school is interesting because right up the road from it was probably an approximately 3/4 mile straight. I'm sure you guys had shenanigans.
Yeah, well, actually, right across the street, literally you could see it across the street, was an undeveloped neighborhood.
Oh, boy.
So we would use that as a circuit.
Wow.
Mostly only when it snowed because it was low speed, we could drift around there and stuff. But yeah, we'd go back there, 5 or 6 of us. 5 or 6 high schoolers driving in tandem in the snow. It was so perilous. We're lucky none of us ever crashed or got hurt.
So one of the best driving roads in northern Michigan was the road I had to drive down every day.
Tunnel of trees.
Yeah. And in the morning, there were three of my friends, or 4, we all lived in Birchwood. And then there were 5 others that lived, seniors that lived this is when I was in like 10th grade, a little further up the road. So we'd all be coming out of Birchwood, and then we'd all get in a line, and then we'd be screaming. These are like big diesel trucks and old Chevys and stuff, and then we'd be screaming down that road at like 80, just like flying over the little hills and stuff. It was so, just the sight was just so hilarious.
Yeah.
I think all of my Copart cars are ones that were already there last week.
Yeah, I got
They
you
all
for
look
another.
familiar. Do these look the Skidoo and the Bolt?
Harley, this is another one for you.
Oh, wait, was the Mazda 6 touring in there last?
No, show us,
Oh,
please.
no.
Yeah.
Mazda.
Look at very
Oh, I thought touring meant wagon. I got
I
excited.
do actually like the Mazda quite a lot.
Yeah, it's really just a Ford. So this is a 2014 Mazda 6.
It's hitting the back too.
It's hit pretty lightly in both the front and the rear, but it's a run and drive, and it does not. It's an upcoming lot, so it doesn't have any bids yet. But it looks like a nice car, like just a simple, good Mazda 6, $120,000. I can't yet, but I will keep an eye on it because that looks like pretty minor damage. You could drive it as is if you really wanted.
Drive it around Ipsy.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got one for you, Charlie. It's a car that you used to own.
Oh.
It is 308 162 82.
The Prius.
It's an- Oh, 2000 Boxster S
Manual.
manual.
Guards red.
Guards red.
It's hitting the side pretty decently. The headlight and taillight are removed probably because the body shop was probably planning on repairing it and then decided to total it. But
Like 37,000 miles.
yeah, it's a shame. It looks like a really clean car.
And unfortunately, it's in Ohio, so it got salvage titled.
That's right. Yep.
Any airbag?
Nope.
How did the airbag not go off of it?
Just
Do
needs
they
a
not
door.
have side curtain?
Needs a door and probably some framework. I'm sure the door sill is pretty smashed. In fact, if you go to the VIN tag, you can see how crumpled that door sill is.
Yeesh. Yeah, that's definitely a frame.
Yeah.
Turn it into a Lemons car.
It would be a sweet Lemons car.
Yeah.
The win.
Yeah, you would win.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll keep an eye
Or
on it,
just
see what happens.
or
with
just make it into a track car in general.
it. Right. It's only at $1,000, and it's
Cajun.
can we bid on these cars?
Yeah, you can bid on that.
Okay. Yeah. Let's watch it. See what happens tomorrow morning. See if we end up winning that BMW or not. And see what our funds are like. Neat. Well, thank you all so much for listening and or watching. We'll be back next week to talk about our time with the Volvo XC40 and the Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Let's see what we have coming up next. Where's the schedule here? We have the Sienna, Toyota Sienna scheduled. That's the only car at the moment. We're probably going to get some sort of Kia Forte GT or something as well next week.
Well, I'm
So-
gone.
Oh shoot! No, we'll wait. We'll get some.
Please wait for me for the GT. That's like the one car I've been wanting to drive. And Chris drove it, and I watched his video, and it looks
His
really
video
fun.
already went up.
Yeah.
How does he have videos that go up of a car that he had within like a day, but then there are videos 3 months ago he hasn't put live?
I kind of understand it because sometimes when you get a really good take on something, you
wanna
just
get
want
it
to go
out.
edit it right away.
Did he like that car, Forte GT?
Yeah.
Okay. Neat. Yeah, that'll be cool. And I always forget.
Get something I hate while I'm gone. Get like a
Subaru?
Equinox or a Subaru.
I bet we will get an Equinox at some point this year. I've been
Yeah,
asking-
get it next
asking
week.
for a lot. Yeah, it'll be interesting. In fact, this is what I'll do for you, Nathan. I will get an Equinox and a CX-5 on the same week.
Yes. Yes.
And we will compare
Then
them.
we'll do a comparo.
Chris will film us, and you and I will battle it out to the death.
And it's the thing, I don't even want to battle you. The CX-5 is objectively speaking a better car. It just is. It's a better powertrain, better chassis, better interior materials, better appearance. It's a fact. There's not a single respectable automotive outlet that you could go to and say what's better, the Equinox or the CX-5. The CX-5.
No.
You can say you like the Equinox better. That's fine.
No.
But the CX-5 is objectively speaking a better car.
No.
Well, can't help you. And we'll see you on the next one, where Charlie, Chris, and Nathan with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.
No, 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 no.